Hey everyone, Gil here at Gray Man Prepping. So on this installment of Prepping in Private, I want to talk to you about gardens and a little bit more. Basically landscaping and gardens, I should say. Alright, so I'm out here in Idaho on the property here, and you can see behind me there, this area back here is where I'm going to be putting in the new garden. And it comes up onto the side of the house there. So part of it here, everything here, right down over here, right on up to the front there, is visible from the street. But I want to hide it. So one of the things my wife and I did last year, we bought a bunch of trees to put in up here. And let's get over here. So there's one of them right over here. These are Lombardy poplars. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 of them. Now when planting around your property to hide things, some of the things you got to realize is, what is the weather like most of the time? Well, here the wind blows from the Idaho Supreme potato processing plant over there this way here. That's at a northeast by north direction, and it sometimes blows really hard in the springtime. We're lucky right now, it's a calm day, so it's not blowing too hard. Now we also planted some blue spruce trees, and I got those at Costco. I did a video on them over on my other channel, Camp Patton Family Compound. But we're going to put a couple more in down over there. And as far as the blue spruce goes, we may go all the way down to the driveway down there. It's one of the things we got to figure out what we're going to do when my wife comes up again this summer, see how things are going. But the Lombardy poplars here, what they're going to do is they're going to grow up, and they're going to grow up high, and then they're going to spread out a little bit, and they're going to act as a windbreak. Very important here with all the wind we have. The blue spruce, going to put another blue spruce over in the corner, if I can see here, right over in there. There's a stake out there towards near the fire hydrant. Going to put in another blue spruce over there, and those will help keep people from seeing what's on the ground level here. Now over here next to the house, what we're going to do is we're going to start planting some fruit trees. And so let me get over here. So this area here is still under construction and stuff, so I'm bringing more dirt in. I'm going to be bring this up a little bit higher here and leveling it off and get it all ready. But I'm going to put in an apple tree right about even with the front of the house there, heading over this way, and about halfway, about a third of the way from the house out here, maybe a little bit more, close to halfway. And I'm going to do the same thing down over here. I'm going to put one right out here, and then we're going to come over here and we're going to put another fruit tree over here. And then we're going to come around the corner and put one there, possibly. We're not sure on that last one. But we're going to put 3 across there. These are going to be apple trees. And depending how they go, and if we're able to get the right variety, we may space in between those, and then jog out towards the edge here some other stone fruit, like some pears or apricots. So we're going to put trees on this side here, and a lot of people are planting trees around here. Not too many are planting fruit trees though. And so this, you're just blending. I think people thinking, oh, trees, okay, no big deal. They're not going to realize that they are fruit trees. They are providing food. And that's something you need to think about, is can you plant some trees that'll provide you food? Now, I've touched on this a bunch on both channels, Camp Patton Family Compound and Gray Man Prepping, on the live streams about planting now for the future. Because it takes at least 5 years before you start seeing any decent harvest off of a tree. So what we're going to be doing is going to be putting more trees there. Now these trees here, which the previous owner had put in, don't do squat. In fact, they do less than squat. You see all the down branches here off of it? This is what's come off already, and within the next month there'll be 3 or 4 times as much that comes down off these trees. These trees are going to come out because they are not doing anything for us. They're causing a problem with, you know, oh, it's a great shade tree. No, it's not a great shade tree because of the way they grow. So we're going to get rid of them, and we're going to plant across the back here more stone fruit trees. More pears, apricots, peaches. Trying to think of all the ones. Okay, going to put. We may put in out here on the outside edge here, over there. We may put a couple of walnut trees out there on the property line. But walnut trees have another problem with them, that you can't usually grow anything but grass under them because of the tannin or whatever it is, that, you know, the chemical that they drop on the ground from their leaves and from any of the walnut husks that hit the ground and that stuff. It basically makes it so most plants won't grow there. There are certain grasses that'll grow there, and so we won't have a problem with that. But that'll give us nuts there. We'll have the other stone fruit going on across over here. And so what that's going to do is, for us, that's going to give us a low maintenance, low effort food source after the first several years of working on it and getting it doing, pruning it right. Yes, we'll have to prune them every year, but if you want to see how we do on that, you can see, go over to Camp Patton Family Compound, look at the My Garden playlist. Some of the first videos on there are the tour of the California house and the trees we have there, and the pruning we do there isn't that much. So yeah, so we're going to be getting that, and we're going to be putting those in. Now, being up here in Idaho, we can't plant citrus trees outdoors here. But what I can do is I can take some of the IBC totes, like this one here, maybe one of the ones that's a little bit shorter, and I can plant ultra dwarf orange, lemons, tangerines and stuff in those, and then I can wheel those and keep those out on the driveway. I can wheel those into the shop in the wintertime so they don't freeze, and that way we'll still be getting oranges all year round and lemons all year round. So there are certain trees you can get to help year round around your garden stuff. Now, you really need to go over to check out the My Garden playlist on Camp Patton Family Compound. What my wife did in the backyard with all the trees we have back there, we got several apples, 3 oranges, 4 lemons, 2 cherries, peaches, apricots, and she still grows the stuff underneath them as well. There are a lot of plants that you can grow underneath trees in the shade that are food plants that'll work just great. But out here, let me turn around so if I can catch this just right here. Thanks, catch edge of the house here. So you see we're losing, there we go, get the hand right. We're losing the visibility from the road there, so where I'm at right here, going down there, none of this will be seen from the street. So this is being in private. Well, what about the neighbors? Well, you can see them out there on the John Deere lawnmower right now. Out over, trying to see the screen here, out over there. White fence over there. That's the farthest they come back here. They usually let a couple cows back here and a horse in the backfield back here, and they don't come back there. So they don't see what we're doing in our backyard. And the Fireside, they're farther over there. I rarely see them out back around their little shop there where they got all those cars. I rarely see them in their backyard. So, and so they got their own gardens they're working on, and So they're really don't care too much about what we're doing here. Now in California, at the house there, if you watch the if you go check out those videos, Chris's garden tour part 1 and part 2, you'll see the front yard is all garden, and it's like, oh, that's not hiding it. Well, on the street the house is on there in California, there's probably about 8 other houses in 3 blocks that have big gardens in their front yards, and some others are starting to do, or looks like they're prepping to do the same thing. Well, if everybody's doing it, we blend in and we don't stand out. So check around to see what other people are doing, and if you blend in with what they're doing, you're not going to stand out as far as having food. And blending in is part of the gray man principle of, not drawing attention to yourself. So having a garden back here, granted, this is on the north side of the house, so it's going to be like, people are going to go, well, you're not going to do good back there. Well, if you look at it right now, the entire thing here is in the sun, and it's been in the sun for a while. You see where the shade line is over there? Well, for the last month, the entire patio here has been in the sun, and it's just now starting to, got all the snow has been melted for about 3 weeks now, and so it's just, spring is just starting up here in Idaho, and it's actually starting really good right now. So we're going to be doing a lot of stuff up here that can be considered prepping in private, because we're not drawing attention to it. But it's also because of the way the sun travels overhead. We're, on the north side, we get a lot of sun in the winter, in the summertime. So I'm trying to hopefully this all makes sense to you about doing a garden in private. You don't want to, if you are the only one in your neighborhood that has a garden in the front yard, everyone's going to know about it. If you're doing it in the backyard and you got low fences, you're going to have a problem. Check with your city ordinances about what fence height is for the sides and the back fences. Now sometimes the side fences from the front of the house to the street have to be lower, but once you're at the side of the house and you're going to into the backyard, you can be at 6 foot or 8 foot fence height. Especially if you get a wave, if they have a 6 foot height limit, you can get your neighbors to sign off for you putting in an 8 foot fence for privacy, because hey, they're going to enjoy the privacy too. And you go down to City Hall or whatever and say, hey, the neighbors all want this, want these high fences. We're sharing the expense, whatever, and the city will give you a waiver and sign off on it, and usually no big deal. But trying to hide what you're doing from those that aren't nice is the whole idea behind prepping in private. So you can prepare without the bad people knowing about it. All right. Now, when you're are doing gardening and stuff, if you're really good friends with your neighbors, I mean really good friends, you guys are always going over each other's houses, having barbecues together and stuff like that, you can drop subtle hints and about stuff about, oh man, the food at the grocery store just tastes so nasty. I'm thinking about growing some tomatoes so I have good tasting fresh tomatoes. And you can do like in containers, 5-gallon buckets, 55-gallon barrels cut in half, 30-gallon barrels cut in half, and you can plant some tomatoes in those, and you grow, because tomatoes are easy to grow, and you share those with your good friend neighbors. And suddenly they're like, wow, these are great. And you say, hey, it's easy, I'll show you how to do it. You get them growing a garden too. And if you guys are sharing a fence and you put in one of those tall fences, you can use those fences to grow plants up onto. And so there are things you can do to be private. You can get other people to be private too and grow stuff as well. And so the garden stuff you grow doesn't have to be big, huge, and stuff. And one of the things you can do also if you're so long as you're not in an HOA. But if you're planting flowers and stuff, there are certain flowers that are edible. And if you have a flower garden in the front yard with the edible flowers in it, you're that much ahead. Sunflowers are edible, nasturtiums are edible, and there's a bunch of others. Just so you can look online and see what flowers grow in your area that are edible. Whether it's the whole plant, whether it's just the flowers, whether it's just the leaves, whatever it is, you can check it out. That way you can be growing it right out there in front of everybody, and nobody knows it's actually a garden to eat. All right, so if you have any questions about what I've been rambling on here about a garden in private here, go ahead and put comments down below, ask questions, and if you need to, you can go to my About page and you can click on for the email there, and you can email me a longer questions or list of things, and I'll get back to you. All right, so before I take off now, I'm going to put a couple links up here. I'm going to put a link right up over, I can see what I'm doing here. Where is it? There we go. Right up here to my other channel, Camp Patton Family Compound. And I'm going to put two links up here. I'm going to put one link up here to the Prepping for Beginners. And I'm going to try to get the link over here to the My Garden playlist over there. Remember, you're responsible for your own preparedness. And a good prepper plants a garden.